This is so illegal, and it is going to blow you away. What did you think I meant? Get your mind out of the gutter. God damn. What's good, folks? It's Warframe here with a new Warframe video, bringing you a nasty synergy with the new Drifter hammer, Sampotes. That's exactly how you pronounce it. At first look, this hammer is a side grade to the Fragor Prime, with 0.5 times more crit damage and 10% more status chance. It's an average hammer for combo or heavy attack builds, but hammers are decent for finishers. However, this weapon has a gimmick that makes you build it in a way that's not like usual builds. You see, when you perform a slam attack, this weapon summons shockwaves erupting from the initial impact point, cascading around you, blowing everything away. You know, I make things sound weird, but whatever. By itself, it's not that impressive, but combine this with a Warframe that breaks a lot of weapons, especially melees, and even Pablo can't even balance her right. Then, you're gonna have yourself a major threat. This is where we introduce Saryn. And why are we using Saryn? Because of Toxic Lash. For those who don't know, Toxic Lash is broken, simply put. It allows you to triple dip in damage over time and also enhances your melee strikes. And guess what? It also re-triggers on the shockwaves. Oh yeah. Toxic Lash coats all your weapon with toxin damage. This toxin damage does not combine with any of your modded elements. It's a damage instance that is applied separately and triggers together with your modded base damage. And this damage is doubled when using a melee. Toxic Lash is Force Proc Toxin and deals toxin damage over time. It scales off ability strength, a percentage of your weapon's total damage, elemental damage mods, crit damage, and faction damage mods. However, Toxic Lash gets an added boost with toxin elemental damage mods equipped on your weapon. With Toxic Lash, faction mods apply to your weapon first to then multiply the damage done with Toxic Lash and then multiply the toxin damage over time a third time, effectively triple dipping in damage. And remember, when I said it scales with elemental mods, when you use Venom Dose, the first ability augment, you're essentially modding your weapon with the corrosive damage elemental combo, which also boosts Toxic Lash, because you now have elements on your weapon without even modding for it. So the synergy with this weapon is pretty simple. Cast Spores on enemies, followed up with Venom Dose to boost your weapons. And lastly, activate Toxic Lash for another boost in weapons. Perform a heavy slam, the Shockwave triggers a series of explosions, and each one of these explosions triggers with Toxic Lash, increasing its damage per hit. And not only that, Toxic Lash has a 100% chance to pop spores, so this effectively guarantees spore spread and damage ramp up. And what's even more interesting, a regular slam attack with its Shockwave builds up combo. Another amazing use is that the Slam Shockwave also gets rid of nullifiers. And with this build, you don't use any other weapon. No need for a primer, just the melee slams. However, you will use other weapons just as stat stick utility items. Slam attacks are generally very weird to mod for. Slam attacks don't get affected by many mods. However, they are affected by combo multiplier abilities and faction damage mods. And on direct slam attack hits, they are affected by crits and base damage. However, the slam radial attacks do not get affected by base damage or range mods, but do scale from slam damage multipliers. This slam attack build has one weakness: stairs or weird elevation. So that's why my Helminth ability will help with that. Breed Surge, as killing enemies on my level affected by the surge will send out the sparks to the elevated enemies. Okay, to explain more about Breed Surge, when cast, you send out sparks of energy that expand and latch onto enemies' faces. These sparks only affect enemies within line of sight. Enemies struck with this ability will be stunned and blinded, and damaging enemies affected by the surge will take the damage you dealt to those enemies and multiply it and spread the affliction to nearby enemies, and the new enemies will take the multiplied surge spark damage. The blinded enemies are susceptible to stealth multiplier damage, so the scaling potential is really high. Pretty much any AoE damage has amazing synergy with Breach Surge that re-trigger the Surge Spark on the enemy's head. The Surge Sparks that lash out to nearby enemies deal radiation damage with 20% status chance. The damage multiplier and status chance both scale of ability strength. The great thing about this ability is that it also blinds Xmas units with Overguard. Yeah. Alright, now that you have an idea of how all of this works, let's take a look at the builds. Starting off with Saryn. I have 4 Archon Shards, 2 yellow for the casting speed, and 2 blues for the energy pool. This helps offset 2 mods on the actual Warframe build. I would say use 3 blues to make it feel even better. Arcane Energize for the large energy regen upon energy pickup, and Molt Augmented for the 60% bonus ability strength on max stacks. In the aura, I have Brief Respite for the energy to shield conversion to help regen my shields when they break, and pair this up with a Decaying Dragon Key to lower the shield capacity so you have less shields to regen. All of this is to refresh my Shieldgate instance. To learn more about Shieldgate, check out the card on the top right or the link in the description. Prime Surefooted in the X-List for the knockdown and stagger resistance. If you do not have this, use Handspring. Strength at 144% with Umbral Intensify. Strength on the build helps boost my ability's damage output. Range at 175% with Stretch and Augur Reach. This extends the range on my first ability, the aggro and explosion radius on my second, and the expansion radius on Breach Surge. Prime Continuity for the duration to upkeep my abilities. Rolling Guard for the status cleansing and 3 seconds of invulnerability. Now these are the base mods for the Warframe. The 3 upcoming mods are going to be the ones boosting my damage on my melee. Venom Dose, this is the Spore Augment that gives me the corrosive elemental damage on my weapons, boosting Toxic Lash's damage. And finally, the 2 Nero mods, Hatred and Anguish. Both of these give me 100% bonus slam damage, while Hatred also benefits my Warframe by providing it with bonus duration and health. Alright, let's take a look at a weird build, and you'll be shocked as how this is even working. Taking a look at the Sampotes build. The most important thing here is the Faction mod, which will multiply our damage and double to triple dip with Toxic Lash. Seismic Wave for the additional slam damage. Fever Strike and Virulent Scourge for the elemental damage boost for Toxic Lash. Saxum Thorax is interesting as when lifted enemies die, they deal a percentage of their max health as impact damage within the area. I will have another mod, part of the same set, on my secondary weapon to increase the radius and health multiplier scaling. This is useful as the slam attacks from Stompies, Ragdoll, and lift enemies. Another unique mod here is the Jugulus Barbs. This spawns tendrils around you, dealing puncture damage where they spawned. Another mod of the same set will also be present on my secondary to decrease the cooldown while increasing the damage and radius. And another mod now is Primed Pressure Point. Now listen up, Primed Pressure Point does not work on the slam radius. I repeat, it does not work on the slam radius. However, it does work on the direct contact hits. And your direct contact hits can be increased with range mods. But range also does not affect the slam radius. I will show you the difference in the direct hit damage with and without Primed Pressure Points. Attack speed doesn't affect slams, but it's useful if you accidentally swing the weapon, or you can animation cancel the swing by going in and out of your Warframe. And for the combo version of this build, make sure you have 2 Dexterity Arcanes on your secondary and primary weapon to increase your combo duration to 20 seconds. And by simply performing a regular slam, the Shockwave will increase the combo counter, and then follow it up with a heavy slam with a larger multiplier. To reduce the amount of combo you consume per heavy, I replaced Corrupt Charge with Reflex Coil. That's it. And now moving on to my secondary weapon. It can be anything you want, it literally doesn't matter. Just make sure it has 2 Augur mods to increase the energy to shield conversion and the Jugulus and Saxum mods to increase the set bonus. Unfortunately, we cannot fit the 3rd Saxum and Jugulus mod on our Warframes because those 2 slots are taken up by the Nero set mods. The companion and primary are up to you. All I have on my primary is Amalgam Serration for the sprint speed. I mean, this is a weird and fun build, but holy hell, it's hella enjoyable, and you should definitely try it out, like legit. Anyway, that has been it from me. I do hope you enjoyed this video and learned something from it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe for more Warframe content, streams, and so much more. Do refer to the description. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace.